when you have Jackie and Jill's point of view at the same time, it's kind of fun as a writer, I thought, because if Jill's about to say something that she shouldn't or give away something to the reader that we're not supposed to know yet, then I can kind of get her off stage and put Jack on.
Welcome to our latest episode of Book Reporter Talks To, where our guest today is Kaira Rouda, and we're going to be talking about her latest thriller, Jill Is Not Happy. And oh boy, I first met Kaira in 2017 at Book Expo's trade show, which was at the Javits Center, and it was before her book, Best Day Ever, came out, which was a Book Reporter Bets on selection. And we ended up having a very long conversation. Like, we were supposed to meet for 15 minutes and we're still talking like 2 hours later, something like that. And since then, I've been following her career. Now, we're doing this interview before the book comes out, which is always like a lot of fun, but we don't have a review yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you, this is what I'm going to share about it. It's a War of the Roses in which an ill-fated road trip resurrects a married couple's darkest secrets. And I am telling you, these people have some stuff in their lives that's deep black. She went really, really for everything here. So with that intro, welcome, Carol. So good to see you and to be in conversation with you again.
Thank you, Carol. I'm so excited to see you too.
So here we go. Let's start. You tell everybody about Jill Is Not Happy.
Yes, Jill is definitely not happy. We meet Jack and Jill Tingley in this book, and Jill pictures herself as a traditional wife, and she really all she's ever wanted is Jack. And they met in college; they're college sweethearts. When the book starts, she has proposed a road trip to Utah's national parks, and she thinks it's going to be a great way for them to reconnect. I like to use road trips in that way because I think it kind of forces characters together in a book. Anyway, Jack would rather do anything but spend time in a car with his wife, who he hopes to divorce soon. So that kind of sets up the whole tension of the book. They both want completely different things at this point in their life. They're empty nesters. Their only daughter, Maggie, is off to college. And Jack eventually decides, okay, one last road trip with Jill, and then I'm out of here.
Yep. And he has decided, like, at the end of this, he is going to ask her for a divorce. He is very, very clear that is what's going to be happening. Now, yeah. I know that you are very happily married to Harley. Like, I happen to know this. So where did the inspiration for this book come from?
I know, poor Harley. I keep writing these marriage thrillers and he keeps having to sleep with one eye open. It's just the way it goes. So we actually did do a road trip to the Utah National Parks during the pandemic. We live in California, so it's a nice drive. And we get there and neither of us had been there before. And it's just astounding geography and really breathtaking scenery. And we make it to Bryce Canyon specifically. And there are these things called hoodoos, and they're kind of like, they look like statues, and you can even imagine faces on them, and they're made out of sandstone and they're slowly decaying. And you get to the top of the canyon, you look down, and then the sun's setting, and there's shadows kind of angling off of these sculpture things. And I just thought, wow, this would be a great place to kill someone, fictionally speaking. And Harley looks over at me about that time and says, I know what you're thinking. I'm like, oh, it's just lovely here. This is so great. And he's like, no, you're gonna put a book here and you're gonna kill somebody. I'm like, yeah, probably. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
I'm just trying to decide gun or knife. I mean, that's all I'm going for. Push, push comes to shove. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of the classic.
Yeah, that's you, is push come to shove, push to come, da-da-da. So when Jill meets Jack, who she's been eyeing for a while, she decides that the rest of her life is settled. Like, it's all, and from there, she figures out how to kind of infiltrate his life. Like, she figures out how to hone her way in and sort of make him love her, like make him pay attention to her. How much fun was it creating Jack and Jill?
Yeah, it was really fun. That was inspired a little bit by a story in college. My freshman year roommate had a list of guys that she was watching from our dorm room window, and who she thought she had binoculars and the whole shebang. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Anyway, but so it was kind of inspired by that. And I thought, Jill just, she had a plan and she wanted Jack. And Jack really was just a happy-go-lucky guy. He was just having his best college experience and had no idea that when she'd just show up, that it wasn't just happenstance. So right. he was led he led himself to believe that it was all just coincidence that Jill would show up places. And anyway, he kind of fell right into her trap.
Yeah, because she was watching every single thing that was going on. But when she sort of eyed him and she knew she'd have the money, she knew she'd have the power. Power was really what she was waiting for.
Mhm.
Okay, so they head out to Utah because you have already been there and you go, ooh, this will be really good. The Hoodoos, yeah, here we go. So did you actually, okay, Jill, we know, has everything mapped out about where they're going, where they're going to stay, and whatever. Were you the planner of this trip or was Harley?
No, Harley's the planner. So I'm the
Uh-huh.
second guesser. Harley's the planner. So I just get to go along and like if the room's too, cold or dark or something, then I get to complain and he will be the one that says, "Why didn't you help with the planning?" So yes. Anyway, because I don't want to be the one that gets blamed for picking. So it works out for me. But yes, so he plans it and but Jill is kind of like Harley in that sense because he would have everything mapped out and Jill definitely does have everything mapped out.
Well, I'll teach you the trick that I used to do. I just take my credit card and I tap it on the front desk and say, am I going to be happy in this room or will I be back to see you soon? And many times the room has gotten changed just by that tap, tap, tap of, I could be back. So do you think I'm going to be happy there? And you just have to do that really like face, something I don't usually do.
Wow, that's so smart because I'm usually back.
Yeah, exactly. So you say, am I going to be back? Or like, are we going to see each other again? Or do you want to get it right the first time?
That
And it's very funny because you often will get your room changed for doing that. And believe me, I'm not like a princess person or anything, but it's just that like, no, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to do. I'll tell you one really funny story because I know you're in the business. Years ago, we went to BoucherCon and we stayed at the Riviera because that's where the conference was, which was the worst hotel on the strip. And I was with my friend who's an agent, and she said, first of all, we need to take all the bedding. And I threw it in the closet. She said, because I think like unnatural sex acts has happened in this room. Like she's really funny. So I haven't taken my no bare feet in this room. She's really so go out that night and we go over to something over at the hotel that's got the boat down the middle, the
oh, the Venetian.
Venetian. So we're in the Venetian. They said, well, we were going to have it here, but the rooms were $20 more a night. And she just turns and says, we could have organized a fundraiser. It was so classic. And it's like, yes, if the room's not right. And the whole time we were there, we're just there like, this is a little sketchy. Of course, it wasn't knocked down till like a couple of years ago, which makes it even funnier, you know?
Right.
So
And
Jill's like a lot of fun to write. So she's also one of the most evil, conniving characters that I've read. So to the outside world, she's just Jill. But you imagine him at the house going, okay, what's she going to do next? What is she going to try next? Because he knows all her secrets. It's like there are two Jills. One definitely takes chances. Am I right? Like there's the sweet Jill and the evil Jill.
yeah, I mean, there's the Jill who, I mean, she wants to be the sweet Jill. She really does. And if she just can have control over everything in her kingdom, which is her home and her husband, she's happy. But it's just when he strays outside of her plan that things go haywire, and
Right.
she needs to act out. Is what happens. So yeah, but she really does picture herself. I really believe she does picture herself as like a kind, warm, housewife. That's what she really thinks she is, but
Yeah.
she's really not. Mhm.
Yeah, she thinks she's that, and she's also sitting there at any moment because he's now knows not to trust her. He now knows that there are things that she's going to do which is just not going to be good, and he constantly is looking over his shoulder like, what possibly might she be doing now? Because I've learned, and she learns because she comes home with some treats, let's say, after she's gone to a luncheon at the club, and she has her own way of judging moral consequence. Is that a good way of putting it? Because
Yeah,
she
I think that's
feel
good.
it's wrong.
No, she doesn't. She calls it like having fun. So yeah, she has little sticky finger tendency,
Yeah.
but she'll justify it by saying that these people have too much anyway, right? So what's slipping a little jewelry from someone that has too much?
It's like that show that's on what you call it right now, that's on Apple, Friends and Neighbors. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, well, if they take one of the watches, they're not going to notice because there are 10 more in the drawer. And which Birkin bag should I take? Because there are 20 Birkin bags. So it's this level of like, there's so much that's there. If I take something, who will notice and who will care? And the insurance will pay for it. So it doesn't really matter. And
Right.
you start to realize what it's like to be with people who have a lot like that, which they're not going to miss the same way.
Right. And I love that show, Your Friends and Neighbors. And I did think it was really funny that all of a sudden there's this character on television that's doing the same thing Jill has been doing. Because yeah, and it's a sad kind of state of our society that some people have so much and that it doesn't matter, that, it's like collecting trophies. It just sits in
Hmm.
their cupboard and collect, whether it's purses or watches or anything else. It's a lot of a lot.
Well, I'm watching that show. There was one episode where it was like they were ramping each other up like this. And I was just there like, even the people who are ultra wealthy are not content and happy. There always has to be more. And I think that with Jill, she can't be content at all. It's got to be she's taken more for herself. And that's kind of her drive, her
It
enthusiasm.
is well, and to keep Jack by her side, right? So
Yes.
that's the number one thing. Like she wants everything everyone else has and Jack.
Yes. And in wanting Jack by her side and wanting Jack to be, a big part of her life, she's also sitting there saying, all right, let's see. Besides keeping him in line, what do I really want from him? What do I really want him to be able to do? And do I want him to really get that far ahead? Not really. And he thinks he's really naive. He thinks she doesn't know what's going on, which makes it even funnier because he's plotting this whole thing. And meanwhile, she's like two steps ahead and he thinks he's like five ahead, you know?
He does. Yeah. And it's just, it's probably a bad choice that he's made at the start of the book to be having an affair.
Mhm.
It just probably is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because she's going to find out.
She
And there's
really,
something, we're not going to talk about what it is right now, but she's got something that she's holding over his head. And it's really funny because he's got somebody else looking for it. And then all of a sudden it's in Jill's hot little hands. So it's
it is.
little
Yeah.
tiny hands that go
I know.
like this. So it's a cat and mouse a lot. Like, he's trying to trap Jill. He's trying at every moment to try to trap her. Did you like writing the cat mouse kind of a thing? And was there ever a moment where you were like, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I don't know what I'm going to do. Or was it pretty in your
You
brain?
know, it was really fun. As you know, Best Day Ever was one point of view almost to the very end of the book. And that's almost tougher, I think, to keep in just one point of view. When you have Jackie and Jill's point of view at the same time, it's kind of fun as a writer, I thought, because if Jill's about to say something that she shouldn't or give away something to the reader that we're not supposed to know yet, then I can kind of get her off stage and put Jack on. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how my mind works when I'm writing it. And then, same thing with Jack. If he's about to like go too far, then back comes Jill. So it was really fun writing it that way.
You can see the going back and Jack and Jill, the fact that their names just make it like all the more humorous as you're sitting and reading. Like, why are we laughing about this?
I
And
know.
I love that she keeps telling Jack that she's telling him, you're on a romantic trip with your wife, like, which is so amusing. Like, aren't you enjoying the romantic trip that you're on with me? And he's sitting there, like, clearly, you just picture this guy going, there is nothing fun about what we're doing. I want to stop at a motel now. I want to eat now. And she's like, no, 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 I've prearranged the dinner. And he's like, I don't care. I'm
I'm hungry.
tired. I'm
I'm
over
tired.
it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because, as she will tell you, I mean, the way to a happy marriage is through his stomach. And so she does use food a lot in a lot of different ways to
Yes.
try to
Yes.
control him for
Yes,
sure.
definitely into the control part. Definitely into the
Mhm.
control part. So stealing is part of her life, and she has these implications of others. She tries to get other people implicated in everything that she's doing. She thinks she's so clever. Did you know from the front that she's going to have that little sleight of hand, that little, I can get that from them.
I didn't. That was something that developed as I was writing her.
Okay.
And I didn't know what, but I knew she wouldn't be, obviously she is not what she seems.
Yeah.
And the first time she revealed that she'd been having sticky fingers, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great for her because it really is. And it gives her power, not only that she can get away with this because she's done it almost all of her life, but it gives her extra side money when
Yeah.
she can sell things. It gives her a little bit more agency outside of what Jack can see into what she has.
And it's funny. I was talking to another author earlier, and we're talking about money. Money is so important. Money is the thing. A lot of times it's between being stressed and not stressed,
Mhm.
happy and not happy, and safe and unsafe. And so as a result, her building that little nest egg gives her that a power that he doesn't realize that she's building at the same time. He doesn't really realize what she's doing. But meanwhile, this poor guy's been fired from jobs. He's being watched like a hawk. And it just at every single step of the way, he's got to somewhere say, why am I getting up this morning? Like, what is she going to do now? It's like she's like a human torch volcano of what's going to happen and where she, wants to do. So,
Yeah, poor Jack. I mean, he kind of liked his time as mayor of Laguna Beach, but she didn't really like him getting all of that attention from other people, especially women. That was just not comfortable for her. But yeah, he did. Yeah, and then bad things happen with every job he has because, yeah.
and then they've got the one member of the club that's going to like oversee him, and that makes it even funnier. The whole thing just gets funnier. So there are many ways that she's earmarked to torture Jack, many things that she's decided she's going to do, and she has something on it. Did you outline the book in advance? Like, or did you just write and then go, oh, God, this is what you do now?
I'm a pantser, or I guess they say now a developmental writer. I can't remember who said that, but it sounds much more lovely than pantser. But I do, when I'm writing marriage thrillers in particular, my characters, I'll keep track of their lies as I go along. I did this in Best Day Ever. That was probably the first time because I know when they say something that like makes my something tingle, that's a lie. And I don't necessarily know what or why they're lying at that point, but I have to keep track of it. Like with Paul, it was something about green beans was like the first lie. And then, with Jill, it was, I can't remember if it was, but it's kind of circled around food too for her.
Yeah.
And the kind of a way to control things. So yeah, so I keep track of the lies, and that kind of leads to reveals later on. I
Right.
think so.
Right.
That's probably the only structure I put around it. Otherwise, they're kind of just it's like a play is playing out in my mind as I write, which is really fun.
I see you teaching a thriller fest. Well, I just want you to know that I just line up the lies and then from there, just put
Right?
the
Yeah,
lies down and then right against it.
they're gonna be on the phone going, "Oh, can you teach a craft class?" No.
Yeah, like you've had so much experience doing this now, now how did you learn about the poisons that happen with seemingly ordinary plants? I mean, I know mushrooms, but I did not know a lot of other things will kill you.
Yes, there's so many. And truly, when you start looking around, no matter where you live, there is something growing wild that can just knock you out like right away or knock somebody else out right away. So you'll find that poison is pretty common in my stories and really in my marriage thrillers. The Next Wife has a great one in it, which I love. And this one kind of just came about because I was researching Jamestown. I do genealogy a lot, and my family on one branch came in through Jamestown, and so I happened to find out one of the things that killed one of the first group of. Anyway, so that was the inspiration for this plant. I
If
know.
we got some of the family, we might as well just get it in the book. It's all in
Right.
the family, all in the family. No, I was at the garden center the other day and they said, this plant is toxic. The leaves are toxic. The flowers are toxic. I bought it anyway, but because I like the flower. So I'm
Right.
telling this woman who does planting for me, because she's far better at this than I am. And she likes to do it. So we have a deal. I will pay you to put the flowers that I love in the ground the right way. And you will
Right.
know, like if they're the shade ones, you'll put them in the right place no matter what I say. So she came over and she says, she had gloves on. She goes, I'm ready for this. And I was like, I am so not, So, but she said,
Right.
there's so many plants that are really toxic, but Jill's really figured it all out.
She is. She likes to grow, lettuce and other vegetables in her hydroponic tower, and
Mhm.
she has also added a few of her, maybe some toxic
Mhm.
plants to that too. Which I mean, really look like beautiful flowers if you don't know that they're out to get you. In fact, I had on my kitchen table these pots. Darn it. I have a plant ID thing. I don't know if you've
Right.
seen that
Yes.
app.
Yes. Yes.
So I had these flowers on my table, like little pots of maybe like four or five of them. And my one son is like, Mom, what is this? And I'm like, well, I've never really plant ID'd it. So I plant ID it. Totally toxic. If eaten, do not eat the flower, do not eat the seeds, do not eat anything. And I have it on the kitchen table. Like I could have just plucked some and plopped them on the salad if I
That's right.
hadn't. So I had to get rid of it. But he's like, Mom, what are you doing with these on the table? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't mean to. So yeah, There's
No,
that.
it's more like go through the garbage and find the receipt. It's research. It's
Right.
research.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So it was research. And yeah, I save all those on my plant ID too.
I know, but sometimes you go to Plant ID and you're like, no, that's not it. I don't think. I had a bird call ID on my phone a couple of weeks ago. There was this bird that was like tweeting 4 or 5 times, starting at like 5 a.m. I was like, what is this bird? So all the readers wrote it and they go, no, you've got to download this app and go out. So I'm out there in the backyard holding my phone up to record the bird singing so they can figure out. And it's some kind of a robin. And I'm like, it's not even exotic. I don't even have something that's really cool. It's like this something robin. And I'm like, oh gosh, I was hoping I was having some rare thing. And then one day, one rooms are on that side. It flew to the other side of the house and started singing. And they go, it's a different one. I go, no, it's the same tone. It's the same one.
I know my bird. That's the same bird. Yeah.
The plant ID, and you're at the garden center, you're plant IDing. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, like the sign on it doesn't tell you what to do with it. You have to know
Right.
yourself. Yeah. So was it always the first person narrative? Like, was it always like we're going to just keep it in their brains?
Yep. I'm a first person. I like that. I like the kind of closeness that it makes. And I think it also adds a sense of urgency. At least it does to me when they're very present on the page.
Well, it's intimacy at some points, and then it's urgency at others. So it's first you're just, oh, isn't this lovely? And then you're like, oh, so not. And you really need to push away. You really, really do need to push away from these people. Yeah. And then later on, we find that Jill is part of the Latter-day Saints community. Now, what made you choose? I guess we're in Utah, so we're bound to run in some family.
Right. So yeah, kind of because of the setting that had already popped into my head because of that drive, and yeah, I just thought it would be interesting if Jill did encounter some of the people that she has been, fleeing from for her pretty much since she was a child. She just didn't really fit in with the Latter-day Saints, so she had been sent to live with her aunt in San Francisco. So she doesn't really want to see any of these people, but she didn't really plan out that part of it. She wasn't expecting to see them, so I thought it was kind of funny that they would pop into her life again.
And she's sitting there like why is she here? Why is she here?
Yeah.
And it's even interesting to see why she was kicked out all those years ago, because you think it's one thing and you think, well, that's bad enough. And then she goes, but it's all these other things were really the reason that they didn't. And you put it together later on, like you just know she was in trouble and her brother had gone to church, but you didn't get the whole picture of what was going on until later.
Yeah.
So, do you know how you're going to wrap the book before you get started? Do you know how this was going to end? Did you know? So you're not writing towards a goal. Sometimes people say, "I just know the end," and to get there.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's probably a great idea to have an ending in mind when you sit down to write. But I really don't. I usually, like I said, have a character and a setting. I knew that they would end up back in Laguna Beach and like kind of Southern California for most of the book after their trip, their ill-fated trip. But yeah, I don't know the ending.
Yeah. But the two of them driving in the car where she's going, we're having such a great time. And he's like, I'm having such a bad time. Like you could just picture, I really don't want to be doing this. I don't actually want to do this at all. So there's no outline in advance. So there's no notes, except you know that you're going to do first person and these two people are going to be really immediate.
Yep.
So,
And there's going to be lies that I have to keep track of.
so okay, as you're writing, did it all end up the same way or did you move pieces around? Were you that fluid as you were doing it, or at some point you sit there like, wait, this has to move over here and this has to move over here, or you saw it in your head?
It's pretty much in my head. I mean, of course, there's going to be revisions once it gets to an editor and that kind of thing, but not whole blocks of content moved around. It pretty much stays, the way it is.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was trying to figure. So, what was an example of an edit? Did they have you ramp something up or connect something closer? Because it feels like it's the stream of consciousness writing
It
with
is.
highs and yeah, seriously, it feels like it's just stream of consciousness. You're sitting there thinking of her reaction. You take it to just a point, then you start on him, and you take that to a point, and it's this constant doing like this. And
Yeah.
did any of that change, or that stayed the same?
That all stayed the same. I mean, with this story, it really came out pretty fast. And it was one of those, which is kind of like Best Day Ever as well. It was just
Yeah.
they were really present in my head. And even when I wasn't writing, they would be popping in to give me an opinion about something. Or, I always say shower thoughts are the best thoughts. So when a book's really going well, the shower thoughts happen a lot. And that's what these guys, Jack and Jill, were both like that. And actually, it was great. It went to, I think, 4 editors and had an offer in like 24 hours and went to auction. So
Wow.
it was, yeah, it was fun.
Did you work with Louisa on this one? Did you work
Yeah,
with her? Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I know her. I really, really like her. I like her in this new role, you know?
Yeah, she has been great. And she was the one that read it in 24 hours and made the
Yeah.
first offer. She was great. Yeah.
She has great energy. She has great energy she had as bookseller and now with a new experience of what she's working on. She had an interview with some people last week and she's just so good and at
Okay.
plucking out exactly what could be a not great like experience with just people but makes it really, really fun and good. And that's an art. It really, really is.
Oh yeah. I could never be an editor, just like I couldn't teach a craft class. I'm more of a big picture person. And then, yeah, because they've really got to dive in and make sure everything's holding together all the way through.
Well, yeah, and it's like the chronology. Like, could you get to there from there? And okay, if this isn't going to happen, what is going to happen? And like he stays behind, but if he stays behind, what does she really do? How can it really happen? What really goes on? So, yeah, they're seeing that big picture. So when you're writing, okay, you're writing on the shower wall. Like there was
Yeah.
actually an author that said you really need a pen for writing on the shower wall because that's where the good ideas come. And somebody said they wrote in like the steam at one point on the shower and they had to go back and get it before it went off the wall because it's one of their best lines. And I was like, okay, I think you need like waterproof magic markers. I mean, you need something.
Absolutely. Well, and I just heard somebody told me this in an interview just recently that because some part of your brain is affected by the warm water hitting
Oh,
it, and it's telling it to relax, and it allows like the frontal lobe to relax, and so that your subconscious flows, and that's why shower thoughts are so powerful.
actually, that makes a lot of sense
It
because,
does.
yeah, you are like completely relaxed. Like people say they get great ideas on airplanes. Think about it. You're not flying the plane.
Right.
You really have to just sit there. And
Yep.
you want to read, but that's really like a me time as opposed to driving the car, picking up the kids, anything else that you're doing. It's just that in the groove time.
Yeah, I love airplane writing. That's my favorite place to write.
That's what so many people have said. I feel like at some point we should just charter a plane and say, authors, you could get on this flight. Forget going to the conference. There's going to
Right.
be a thriller writer's flight. It's leaving at 9, and we're going to go to Hawaii and back. Like we're going to go far. Like we'll pick up people along the way, but that's the only time we're stopping.
I
But
love that. See, I could teach that class.
yeah, but you know what though? You guys are too social. You'd be talking the whole time. You wouldn't be writing. I know that.
True. Yeah, you get us together and we can't stop talking because we're all like so individual all through our job. And then you get together and you're like, ah. Yeah,
It is really funny because you have all these people. Like I'm kind of looking around the room with like who's there with the knife in the back room of what's going to happen, and you're
right.
sitting down. You're talking to people who have written some really gory or crazy stuff. You're having very normal conversations like, "Can I get you a drink? No, don't get one for me. I know what you can put in it. Can I go do this? No, no, don't come near me. Blah blah blah." Because you
Yeah,
realize in their heads, what are they twirling when they see you? You know.
right. Yeah, we'll never know, Carol, will you?
Like, yeah, so I have to tell people last year I went to Thriller Fest and she grabs him and she comes in the door and she says, like, somebody's going to be killed. How's it going to happen? And the scary thing is, I actually didn't figure out the person, but I told you how it was going to happen really fast. And I
You
came
did.
back and one of the people who's with me says, what did you do? It's like, yeah, 2 seconds, I can do it.
Yeah, we grabbed you for the Killer Author Club. That was
Killer
awesome.
Author Club. There we're going. There we're going. So what's going on with the Killer Author Club? You started in what, 2022? So it's 3 years you've been doing this
Yeah,
with?
it's been so fun. It's with Kimberly Bell and Heather Gudenkauf, who I just happened to call because they both had books coming out at the same time as I did during the pandemic, like right in the heart of the pandemic. My second pandemic book, actually, ironically called Somebody's Home. I'm like, that could have been a better title. But anyway,
Everyone's at home.
everybody was home. Nobody wants to read about somebody being at home. So anyway, besides that, so I reached out to them and said, hey, do you guys want to start a podcast or a show about killing of the fictional kind? And they both said yes. And since then, we've had the opportunity to interview so many fellow authors and have them on the show. We do it every other Tuesday, and it has been so fun, just getting to sit down and talk like this. And we've got a Facebook page that's really lively and active, and we've got swag, and we've got a podcast now. So we went on our first in-person tour, which is the first time we'd ever all three been in the same place at the same time. So
Where'd you go? Utah?
we went to, no, I don't know if they'll welcome me there, but no, we went to Florida and went to 3 different bookstores, and it was so much fun. It was really great being together too. So we plan to do that again. And yeah, it's just grown really, really nicely.
It's really interesting because unless you're a writer, you don't understand what it's like to be a writer. And I'm not one, but I watch enough of you to know this, that you're constantly coming up with ideas in your head. You're constantly up against trying to get people to read your books. You're constantly trying to figure out what's the great timing, the cover, the this, that, and to have other people to bounce things off of who understand your business makes such a big difference.
It does. And I was going to say, I think the biggest thing that's come out of the Killer Author Club is like just dear friendships between the 3 of us, because,
Right.
you're like, if we're talking during the pandemic every other week, and now we have a project that I can't talk you about, but we're working together on another project that's going to be really fun too. And so it kind of makes you feel less alone.
What's interesting too is female friendship is usually fractured when there's more than 2. And the
Mhm.
fact that you 3 clearly, are behind each other all the way. Let's see, it's Lauren Willig, Karen White, and Beatrice Williams. Same thing. It's this troika that are behind each other that understand the business, but it's not competing with each other. It's enjoying each other's successes. If somebody really, really does well, you feel like you all did a really good thing because you were friends with that person. It's like really, it's very different than what is usually competition in a business of having the 3 of you together,
Yeah, you're right. And it's great. It is. I completely concur that it's that idea of rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
your friend does well, you're so excited, and it just I think celebrating wins is so important in this business anyway, because it is so tough, as you point out. And
Yeah.
so yeah, there's nothing better than when Heather has something great happen, or Kimberly has something great happen. It's awesome.
And you're just sitting there going, oh, that was a good move. Oh, that was really good. Or yeah, and it's interesting because it is a tough business. It is a tough business. It's always been a tough business. I've been doing this for 29 years. It's always been that it's no easy feat to get a book finished. Okay, finish writing it, getting it edited, getting a publisher, getting it out there, and getting readers. I think it's a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things.
A lot
A
of
lot.
things. A lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So when you first see your finish your manuscript, who gets to see it first?
Gosh, this one I ran it by Harley just so he's like, oh no, another marriage thriller. This is the one about Utah. I'm like, yeah, sort of, yeah. So he'll read it, and I can tell. I mean, he will tell you that he loves all my books, but I can tell if he really likes a book because he'll read it really fast. So this one was a really fast read, and if it makes him laugh too, then he likes that as well. So this one, he's first, and then. Well, and then my agent, it would be the second one. And, you just kind of hold your breath and hope for the best. And with this, the original title was Marital Privilege. The whole notion being, and this notion started the book too, was that, the secrets between couples are privileged and protected if you're still together. But once you get a divorce, then all of those secrets are fair game. So that was kind of the starting place. But my agent's like, I don't know, that's just not catchy enough. What about Jill is not happy? And I just love the title. I think it's it's a great title. And I've been just starting, book tour starts next week, and there's so many Jills.
Yeah.
No Jills who aren't happy and they want to get the book for her. And then there are Jills who are basically happy, but sometimes not. And they want to hold it up, and let people know what they're thinking. So that's been fun.
Yeah, I just have to say, it's like when I saw the title, I'm like, oh, that's like very clever. Jill is not happy, and you need Jill to be happy because if she's not, it's not going to bode well. It's not going to
never bodes well. No, and yeah, and she's something. I've been doing these interviews for the book, and Jill always pops into my head while I'm talking about her, and she really wants me to tell everyone that she's the star because she is the star. And at first she was a little chagrined that we're out here talking about it because she wants to be the person. I'm like, you're not real, Jill. You can't talk about
You can't
it.
talk about this.
No. So I don't know if I sent you one of these, but she wrote a book, 10 tips for a
For a
perfect
perfect
marriage.
marriage.
And it's on my website too. But, her whole theory is, happy wife, happy life.
Right.
And she kind of sees herself as like the 1950s housewife. And so I don't like if you see some of these print interviews, she actually will just jump in while I'm writing the answers to the interview and start talking. I'm like, Jill, stop it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's happened.
But Jill is not happy because
She's not happy unless she has her say. Absolutely.
Well, the cover is like perfect, and you understand why the cover is perfect as you read. Like you really get what's going on. There's a clue there, folks. So I just love seeing that. I found the hardcover someplace. I wasn't going to go clean this stack, but there you go. And it's just sitting there like, Jill.
Yeah. I know. It's so
Jill. Great colors though, too. It's really
great.
great.
I love this lavender, I guess it is. Yeah. And the hardcover has like the flaps or that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
They did a great job.
So this was the first cover you saw, or did they play around with covers?
They played around with covers, and actually they were really creatively open, and we had a lot of discussions about how to kind of encapsulate Jill. and it came down to a really pretty basic yet layered idea. And it started, Harley and I were in Puglia, which I'd never been to before in Italy. And we were staying at this hotel where they had a salad bar, and so I made this kind of bowl of lettuce with all these dark colors of lettuces. I'm like, that could be the cover. So I'm sending photos of just my lettuces to the designer. And they're like, okay, we'll play around with lettuce and then maybe we'll play around. So that's kind of where it started. And then
lettuce and leaves.
Yeah.
Yes, but Harley was letting you make a salad. Really?
I know. He really shouldn't be doing that. I know. That was just for me, not for him.
Oh, okay. So, honey, let me go make you a salad. That could be like your code word if you don't like something that's going on. Just say, would you like a salad?
I made a special salad for you tonight. Have a seat. Yeah.
And everybody be like, she's such a good cook. I mean, it's just, she's so amazing at doing that.
Yeah.
So have you had a chance to hear the audiobook yet? Have you had a chance?
No, I haven't.
You haven't heard that. So it's narrated by, I guess her name's Marion Young.
Okay.
And did you pick her? Did you get to pick her voice, or they said?
No, they just picked her. I usually do get to hear, auditions and stuff, but I haven't. So I'm excited to hear how she sounds.
Marion Young. I'm trying to figure out, it's Maryne. So I'm trying to figure out the spelling of it, what that means. So, so are you working on something now?
I am, but I'm also, my next book comes out in February, which is,
wow.
Yeah, it's fast. So that is called We Were Never Friends, and it's with Source Books, and it's set in Palm Springs, and it's about a group of sorority sisters who had something terrible happen their senior year of college, and they pretty much haven't kept in touch since. But unfortunately for all of them, one of their sons is marrying one of their daughters, so it forces a reunion / engagement party in Palm Springs that they all are reluctantly attending, and that's kind of where it starts. And it's really fun. It's a multi point of view characters, and bad things happen.
I think it's time to find the receipts from the wedding and pull those into next year. I really do. Right. Because if you didn't do the wedding, you wouldn't have that kind of experience to be able to go do this, and it has to be the one where your daughter was the bride, not the one where you just kind of showed up. Like you have to be the other ones, You
do. Yeah. There's a lot of inspiration to be had when you're the mother of the bride and you write thrillers. Yeah. I have to say. I'm like, I'm going to kill someone.
I'm going to take her out right now. It's like, I'm going to do this like right this second, and we may not be having a wedding. That's the way it's going to go.
But it turned out lovely. Everything was fine.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. But I know the details behind the scenes. Every time I have a friend who, usually when they have a daughter get married, they go, I'll call you next week. That's what I always get. I'll call you next week. And I always love, no matter how many details you put together on something like this, how much you thought through, there's always something that and most people don't know, but your closest girlfriend knows exactly what's going on. When the thing is not on the front lawn and it's in the other tent, you're just winking like, yeah, could rain. That could
Oh
happen.
yeah, that's the scariest part, the weather. You just don't know. Yeah, it was sleeting and hailing the weekend before, and then it was beautiful, but you just never know. But
Yeah.
no matter what it turns out, I was just at my nephew's wedding in New Orleans, pouring,
Pouring rain.
pouring. I mean, just not like just like sheets of rain like, going sideways. You're carrying your umbrella, you're in your formal gown, the umbrella blows up. We go into this beautiful cathedral down the French Quarter. Still raining cats and dogs. We come out and we know that we have it's called the second line, and you walk from the cathedral to the reception through the French
Right.
Quarter, and everybody's waving white towels. So fun. And right when we all walked out of the church, it stopped raining.
Oh, wow. Lucky,
Just
lucky.
like 20 minutes, enough to get to Brennan's. And then once we were inside, raining cats and dogs again. But that was fun.
It's just fun because everybody's going through it. You're all going
Yeah.
through the exact same thing. And
Yeah.
here comes the rain. Great, right. Great timing. Really great timing. Really.
Perfect. Perfect for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can do something with this. I'll remember this. I'll remember
Yeah.
this moment. Yeah, I can use
Yeah.
this someplace. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because whatever you go through, you're seeing in different eyes. Because I feel like you're sitting in a room and you see something and you're like, I'm not so sure about that. Let's just see what we're going to do to her. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Inspiration is everywhere, as they
Yeah,
say.
that's the reason I think Thriller Fest is one of the funniest events that I go to, just because I'm watching everybody watching each other, And it's
Oh, yeah.
who wants to get to meet each other is the big deal. Like who do you really want to meet? Oh, I know them. I'll bring you over. But it's like some of the biggest people in the business are going to be there this year. And you're looking at the list and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy.
Yeah. And then me, I really am an introvert. So to me, it's more about like, where can I stand so I can just hide?
Yeah.
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 Because it's a lot. But I do love meeting people. It's just, yeah.
Well, people think I'm far more extroverted than I am, actually. There are a lot of times I'm really happy doing absolutely nothing to do with things. And then I reach my limit. We were at a conference the other day that was great. And we walked into the cocktail party. And I turned to two people on my team who looked exactly like I did. And I said, I just don't think I can do this. And they said, we're okay with that because we can't either, because we absorbed a lot of knowledge during the day. And to just sit and have more, and I think it's since the pandemic too, because you were so used to not being with people, that being with people a lot and a lot of people is a really big deal.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, yeah, you kind of have to build up slowly. Like this book tour is like my first in-person book tour in so long. And I'm so excited. And I've got some days like 2 stops a day, and it's gonna be a
Yeah,
lot. Then it culminates in Thriller Fest. So
I know.
I
I was
don't know.
looking at this and I was like, whoa, that's a lot,
It's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot. So I might just be standing in a corner when you see me,
Yeah.
like
I pref-
hiding from everybody.
Well, at least have a plane ride. You'll have a plane ride before that to
I do.
decompress and like come up with something evil the stewardess could do to everybody.
Right.
So
Exactly.
next book's February, and then you're writing something else at the same time now? Is
Yeah,
book always writing?
yeah, it is fun to be always writing. And like I said, we're working on a Killer Author Club project.
Yeah,
It's
I have a funny
really fun.
feeling that was going to be happening. I had a funny
Yeah.
feeling. And the
So
three
that
of you ramping up, I can't even believe what's going to happen to some poor person. You know what I mean? With the three of you. I mean, the way you grabbed me and what was it? Who's going to get killed? How are they going to get killed? And when is it going to happen? And I was like, but the scary thing was I came up with this really, really fast. I scared
you're great
myself,
at it.
you know?
Exactly. You're good. I mean, some people are natural killers. Those are our killer questions. We ask everybody one of those, like who do you kill? How do you kill? Why do you kill? And yeah, you just rattled them off.
Got them off.
That's it.
It was, hey, maybe it's a natural talent. Maybe I should be writing thrillers. No, no, it's a lot. Everybody thinks it's like you just sit down on your computer, put your fingers on the keys, and it just happens. And I'm like, it is so hard to get all the parts to work and hope nobody else is writing the same kind of book or the same kind of a topic, or there's not a Jack getting a Jill someplace else.
You know, right? I mean, and invariably there will be, something similar, something different, but it's your voice and how you see the story that nobody can, that's what makes it unique.
Yeah, you got Jack and Jill going up a different hill.
I do.
Even if somebody else was doing Jack and Jill right now, I don't think they were going to go that crazy with Jack and Jill. But I just love it because each chapter ends with "oh no," and then you go, "oh no." Louisa had to have fun with the editing of this. Just sit there and go, "oh no, this is what happened again." I gotta write her a
Yeah.
note. It was really,
Oh
really
yeah, do
fun.
because she's great and I loved working with her. And we've got another book we're going to be working on together too. So that'll
Oh,
be fun.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
terrific. That's
Yeah.
terrific. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to see you. I'll see you in a couple weeks at Thriller
Yeah.
Fest. I'll be watching my back the whole
Can't
time.
wait. I'll come accost you with a killer question,
Yeah,
perhaps.
here we go. Killer
Yeah.
question as you walk in the door. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to put up on Instagram. I said, oh, then I got to be good. It's got to be good. To be good.
I think you're a natural, so just watch out. I'll be
Yeah.
around.
See, I read too many of these books. My husband should be
You.
careful.
Yeah. Jill's right behind you is Jill, so watch your back. Literally.
I still say, Harley, there's a throne. There's a throne for you in heaven, honey. You know what I mean? Seriously.
I'll let him
Marriage
know.
books. These marriage books with Harley. Seriously.
I know, poor guy. But
He's
somehow he's still surviving, so it's all
a
good.
great guy too. So we will we'll make all good things happen to Car Harley. That's next book. Something good happens, and it's the
Yeah, and
husband
it's all
does
about
well.
I just don't see that happening with one of
I was gonna say, I don't see it happening.
I know it's unfortunate, but usually when I answer the question, "Who do you kill?" it's typically men.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, fictionally speaking, of course.
Fictionally speaking only.
Yeah.
Kara, it's been good. Go out and kill some people. I'm going to
Thank
go
you,
over and
Carol.
something like make dinner. It was great to see you
Yes,
again.
great
Thank you
to
so
see you
much.
too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And to everybody else, we'll see you next time on Book Reporter Talks to.